Hello, my name is Bob Matthews. I am editor of a website called Learn Guitar Quick. It's a website for people that play the guitar and for people who would like to play the guitar. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can go right to the description box and click on our link and go to visit our website if you'd like. Today I'm going to give you a short talk on what fretting does. How do we play guitar by pushing down on those frets? An obvious thing is the way we play notes on a guitar is by fretting. We put our finger on a string and push it down so that it's against one of those metal bars called a fret. And what that does, again, this is obvious, it changes the string length. It makes the string shorter. So when we push it down against that fret, we get a shorter string than we had as an open string. So here's some of the physics that happens behind it. An open string, when we pluck it, begins to move back and forth on its own. And as it swings back and forth, it has a specific frequency or rate that it likes to swing back and forth at. So for instance, if we take an open A and we pluck it, if a properly tuned open A will swing back and forth 110 times each second, call that 110 hertz. Now let's think about an analogy. Let's go down to the playground and we're going to get a swing, and we're going to push that swing, and it's going to start to swing back and forth. And just like that string we talked about, it's going to have a resonant frequency, and it's going to move back and forth on its own at a certain rate. And that's a predictable rate. No matter how many times we push that swing, it's always going to swing at that same speed or rate. And that's how a pendulum works, a clock with a pendulum in it. The pendulum is predictable the amount of time it takes to swing back and forth, so that when we add those up, that's how we can add so many of those per minute or so many of those per hour. And that's how we get an accurate clock, because we can rely on that pendulum going back and forth at a certain speed. Now if we take that swing back and forth, and we now shorten the chains on it, because the chains are shorter on each swing or each trip that swing makes, it's not going to be able to go as far. So since it doesn't travel as far on each swing, it can make more trips per second or more trips per minute. So effectively, that makes the frequency faster. So the shorter the chain, the faster the swing swings. Okay, that's exactly what happens on your guitar string. Shorter strings vibrate faster, because if I have a string of a certain length and it's vibrating back and forth, it's going to be moving a certain distance from center. If I make that string shorter, it can't move as far. So since it can't move as far, it makes more trips per second again. And so we hear that as a higher pitch. Now if we take our guitar, like I said, we took the open A, it vibrated at 110 hertz. If I fret that at the 12th fret is special in that it cuts that string right in half, pretty much. Cuts that string right in half, and now that thing swings back and forth twice as fast, and we call that an octave. So we'll play an open A string, and if we played it at the 12th fret, it's still an A note, it's just an octave higher. Okay, so that's how fretting works. So what are we going over today? Fretting changes length, something you should have known anyway, or you should have realized just by looking at the guitar. But shorter strings vibrate faster because they're not allowed to move as far from the center, and because they don't go as far in each trip, they make more trips per second and they vibrate faster. So we hear that as a higher tone. So I hope you've learned something today. Like I said, I'm editor of a website called LearnGuitarQuick.com. That's learn-guitar-quick.com. Here's a quick look at that site. Like I said, it's full of resources for guitarists, quality learning resources for all, quite a few articles on here, some videos, etc. If you have some time, take a little bit of time and go read that. Also follow us on Twitter. My username is Guitar Bob. Bob has 3 B's in it, B-O-B-B. And here's my Twitter account, Guitar Bob. Alright? So, thanks for listening.